So originally I didn't know the type of film I wanted to make, and I was looking for an idea, and then I was having breakfast one day and my son, he looks at me, my son Jonas, and he says, "Dad, why don't you make a film about space?" And so like my mind started going all over the place, and the idea for Gravity started thanks to Jonas. And I thought, oh, it's a film about space, it should be easy, like 1 year, but eventually it took 4 years to make.
I absolutely loved the film, and for me it was an absolute once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Some of the techniques that we've used in this film I don't think will ever be done again. The big one, I guess, that always sticks in my mind and I'll always remember is the two-dimensional spaceship that we created on this piece of acetate, and this was drawn through, pulled through, sorry, on a piece of fishing wire across a matte painting, which gave a very powerful illusion of the spaceship moving. You can see I wasn't able to pull the string. I've got a shaky hand. All of the astronauts in the film are miniature models, and we caught these. We dropped them from great heights and just filmed them in freefall. On the first couple of shoots we forgot to cushion the drop, and then some of the models broke into pieces, but we quickly put sort of mattresses on the floor so that as the models landed it cushioned their fall and they would remain in one piece.
Houston, I've lost visual, Dr. Stone.
Gravity, I must say, has been one of the most challenging jobs I've had in my long career as a light technician. In fact, I was inspired by this lamp to make the flames for the fire. It was my job to make it look genuine because, of course, Alfonso was not permitted to have real fire, does not comply with health and safety. So we had a group of people at one end of the spaceship holding fans, and we had LED lights scattered everywhere. The light would then reflect and refract onto the nylon and look like an explosion of fire.
We realised early on in the making process that we would need to show the inside of the spaceship. A lot of the buttons, levers and pipes that you actually see in the film have been taken from my own home, and a lot of the machinery was ripped out of old cars, computers that Alfonso brought back from old junkyards and skips. To make sure everything we showed on camera was proportionate, we used this homemade grid to regulate the scale of each individual object, and we didn't want the astronaut the size of the planet.
The voices for the actors, it was quite a tricky process because, I mean, a lot of the time Sandra needed to have this kind of breathless voice, but she just sounded flat every time. So we tried everything, but the only way to really get this sound out of her was to have her run up and down the studio all day long. And then maybe towards 5 or 6 in the evening, just before we were wrapping up, then we'd get that voice, that sort of voice, which was crucial to the film.
Fire.
Brake! Brake! You have to brake!
The can's empty. We're gonna hit hard, grab a hold of anything you can.
When Alfonso came to me with the script in the first place, he looked at it and he said, okay, I'm going to need a big team here. I had to make the entire Earth. Obviously I said I'm not doing that all on my own. One of these members here helping me out. The biggest problem we had to overcome was stopping the paint dripping. We're using quite a lot of paint, and quite thinned out paint as well, to make it seem really sort of smoky and atmospheric, and it started dripping. And at one point it kind of like closed off one of the countries, and it just looked terrible. Alfonso came in, had a word with us, told us to completely paint it out. The clouds we're doing with spray paint actually. So we're sort of going layers over the top really, really lightly. So for the stars, we had to just get a tiny, tiny little paintbrush. I had like 3 or 4 fibres in it, smallest paintbrush, and just really, really carefully dot out, map out. And obviously the stars have to correlate with, oh for God's sake, you know, they just mess around with us all the time, long days.
That woman. Then we landed Edwards, and I find out that she run off with his lawyer. So I packed my car and headed to Tijuana. She told this story go on. As you can recall, she took off in your 74 GTO.
So I don't know if you're familiar with this particular image. It's the space sort of scene where one of the main space shuttle crashes happens. I'm just going to show it for you now. The shuttle we've got put on acetate, so it just sort of moves across. Obviously I'm not in it, we use sort of strings and pulleys. Just like that.
Another challenge we had with the sound was to give the actors a different voice for when they were in their spacesuit, because you know it's just not going to sound the same when they're not in their spacesuit. So to achieve this kind of like tinny sound, we just basically experimented recording into some just everyday objects like this bowl. This bowl, there's potential in this, but it's a little bit too flat, not enough tone to the recording. Next thing, we found this jar, quite similar in its properties to the glass dome they wear over the top of their spacesuit. This had a very striking sound, quite alien, but no subtlety in this at all. And that's what the director really wanted. That's what he wanted, some subtlety in all the effects, you know. And this is what we end up using.
Try again? No, still nothing.
Houston, can you please turn that music off?
Kowalski, I have a problem.
Thanks.
It was thanks to all the hard work and the strong imagination behind the film that I think Gravity became such a huge box office success and a great film. And even though I have to thank all the technicians that worked on the special effects and all the technical things, I think what really made the film was the emotion in Sandra Bullock's eyes, and obviously I think the genius of the director.